Hello, welcome to today's video diary for finding my way with Pi, purpose, intention, and emotion. I am Pi, and there's a couple of things that I would like to curiously observe today regarding my thoughts and emotions. The first thing is I was experiencing a state of overwhelm this morning, and I want to talk about why that was, just reflecting on it, and then also what I did to intervene on behalf of myself to take me out of that state of overwhelm. And then the next thing I want to talk about is a very cool experience of how a hummingbird showed up in my life again. If you've watched the video diaries, you know that hummingbirds are deeply meaningful to me. It's on my logo for Finding My Way with Pi. They hold spiritual symbolism for me, as well as my Mimi, who is and was my angel. I call her my hummingbird, and I'm going to share more about this in just a moment. So first, let's talk about the state of overwhelm I was feeling. First of all, here's Cricket. She's about 11 weeks old. She's a little toy/teacup Yorkie, and we've had her for just over a week, and some of the lack of sleep caught up with me this morning. I don't do well with a lack of sleep. When I get like less than 7 hours of sleep a night, I begin to feel overwhelmed. My breathing actually changes. I find I hold my breath or I breathe shallow breaths. I find I have far less capacity to deal with any type of stress, and I feel like I want to cry all day long. That started hitting me this morning. Puppy woke up at 4 a.m. and while she went back to sleep after she went potty, I could not go back to sleep, and I was feeling, and still am actually feeling, utterly exhausted, and I know I need more sleep. Then normal everyday life is happening, right? My daughter slept through her alarm, and I needed to wash my hair, which is, I have long hair, and for me it's a process. I need like an hour to wash it and take care of it. The puppy was not having a great morning. Lots of potty accidents in the house, which is fine. Like, it happens. It's part of having a puppy. My son's getting up and he's getting ready. There's in-laws in town. Then they're stopping by for dinner tonight at our house, and it's the end of my grocery week, so I don't have a lot of groceries, or feeling like I don't have a lot of what I need in the house to feed visitors. This is a more intense week for homework this week. In my master's program, I have not been able to exercise regularly like I normally do. With having a new puppy in the house, I have not found my flow or my rhythm. And we're still, we've got a very busy weekend coming up. All day Saturday, ultimate frisbee tournament for my son. All day Sunday, or at least most of Sunday, flag football playoffs for him. We were supposed to do an important, meaningful event in support of a very close friend. I don't think we're going to be able to do that, and I'm sad about that. And I'm also working on building the whole being community. Working on my dream with I call them my sisterhood. And there's lots I want to dive in there. I had all this stuff going on in my head, and I couldn't even figure out how the hell to go shower this morning because of not wanting to let the puppy run amok in the house. And I'm sure it's a very simple solution, but in my exhausted state, all I felt like doing was crying, and felt like if I go ask hubby for help, will help, but will say, this is exactly why I didn't want a dog. And then I will cry. This is what my brain was telling me in my state of exhaustion and overwhelm. He never said that to me. And also, my daughter came downstairs and said, and I just shared with her, I feel like crying. I am exhausted. I've got this overwhelm going on in my head, and I know it's worry over things and everything I have going on, and I just feel I need a few minutes. And she said, it's okay, Mom. I understand that feeling. Go take care of yourself for a little bit. And it gave me some time to go blow dry my hair and listen to some classical music and take a minute. And then when Puppy fell asleep, I did like 15 minutes of calm, slow breathing, and it lowered my heart rate. I think it gave my body some rest and recovery time. It allowed me to just settle into myself, understand the thoughts and emotions that were running amok, and recognize that in sleep deprivation, I don't feel well, and allow me to just let go of some things. So we're going to have frozen pizza tonight when the in-laws come visit. So what? Doesn't need to be a fancy meal. The house is a mess. So what? We have a new puppy, and I chase her around all the time. And I've got a lot of homework that I'm doing. So everything's converging this evening with flag football practice, an appointment for my daughter, and trying to make dinner. Guess what? My son gets to learn, and he already knows, but we get to let go a little bit. Hey, son, ride your bike to the park for your football practice. You can handle that and then come home afterwards. Hey, daughter, drive yourself to your appointment. You can handle that and then come back afterwards. Hey, Pie, frozen pizza's fine. Make it easy. You can handle that. Come back afterwards to yourself and just be in the moment. So that is what I did to help myself, and I want to recognize and acknowledge that others helped me too. So did hubby. He took the puppy so I could use the bathroom. Sounds like having a baby. It kind of is. My daughter took the puppy so I could finish doing my hair and have a few moments to myself. I took a few moments to myself while the puppy was sleeping to breathe and relax and reflect and be present and just feel the breath coming in and out of my body and thoughts and energy in my body just settling. Hugely important for coming into a state of calm. So that's the state of overwhelm that I wanted to talk about. It's just a perfectly normal thing that happens in everyday life, especially when you introduce a new family member. The next thing I want to share about is hummingbird. So I'm just actually going to read this after I share with you very quickly. Some of what we're working on in my master's program, it's a Master of Arts and Happiness Studies, is we're working on how do you create your environment, give yourself what we refer to as your own little retreat space, that your environment that you create reflects back to you things that are meaningful to you, things that remind you of how you want to be, things that reflect back a sense of calm and order, or whatever you need around you, comfort, relaxation, any of those things for you. You design your space because your environment is so important. It helps influence and impact your inner state, just like your inner state sometimes reflects in your environment. Like this week, feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and it's gotten messy in my environment. I know when I clean the house and straighten that's going to help me reflect back to me a sense of calm. So this is kind of what we were talking about. And as an example, my professor, Dr. Tal Ben Shahar, shared his office, which he calls his retreat space. So he turned off the virtual background on our live Zoom lecture this week, and he showed us the things that he had on his walls that he surrounds himself with. He read some of the quotes. He talked to us about the pictures he put up and why. He has his yoga mat in there, etc. So one of the things I noticed on his wall was a painting of a hummingbird. And in that moment, I felt this deep pull in my heart and tears in my eyes and a lump in my throat. And I'm going to read you the email that I sent to my professor as well as his response. And I just wanted to share this because it is an acknowledgement for myself to always remember, when you relax into life, when you allow life to unfold, it doesn't mean you stop moving and lay on the couch like a lump. What it means is you follow your heart and trust life and relax the need to control everything, that it all blossoms and unfolds beautifully. And on top of that, life will reflect back to you moments of confirmation, moments of acknowledgement, moments of encouragement and love and meaning that show you you're on the right path if you're present enough to pay attention, if you're able to see the signs that life gives you. And the coolest part about this is that life speaks to each of us individually in our own ways for what's meaningful to us. And in my case, it's a hummingbird. And now I'm going to share with you why. So I'm going to look at my screen and read this to you. Dear Professor Tall, thank you for sharing your personal retreat space office with us this morning. I was delighted to see a hummingbird on your wall because a hummingbird has special significance to me as well, and I wanted to share this with you. My Mimi, who I refer to as my hummingbird, was an angel for me in my troubled childhood. She raised me basically between the ages of 8 to 12. We lived with her after my parents divorced, and my mom lived with us too, and my Mimi was always near me. I call her my hummingbird because she loved hummingbirds and because of what she represents for me. She kept hummingbird feeders outside, visible from the kitchen table where we ate dinner together every evening, and she used to exclaim, "Oh, look, a hummingbird," every time she saw one, and we would all turn so that we could see it too. One time, she exclaimed and pointed, and we all turned to see and were looking and looking, but we couldn't find the hummingbird. And when we turned back to the table to Mimi, we caught her licking the dessert juice off her plate. This was very scandalous and unladylike for my southern belle of a Mimi. She laughed delightedly, and so did we. And for decades on, and still to this day, we still exclaim, "Oh, look, a hummingbird," every time we want to lick the dessert juice off our plates after dinner. Fast forward about 35 years. My Mimi passed away in May of 2023. As a gift on Christmas that year, my daughter gave me a painting of a hummingbird, which we hung by our kitchen table so that Mimi's always with us. And now when we exclaim, "Oh, look, a hummingbird," it's true. I cried tears of joy when my daughter gave me that painting. It touched my heart so. Since my Mimi passed away, I've been seeing hummingbirds everywhere, synchronistically keying me in to pay attention to what's happening in that moment. And as crazy as it sounds, for me, hummingbirds are the way the universe speaks to me so that I can hear and see and listen. And I always feel my Mimi is with me when I see them. Here are some examples. When looking for funeral attire for my Mimi's funeral, my husband found a dress shirt in Express Men that had hummingbirds on it. We had never seen a dress shirt like that before, especially not in Express Men. When I took my daughter to see Taylor Swift, her first concert, A month after Mimi passed away, we went to pick out cowgirl boots to wear together to the concert, and there was a pair that had embroidered hummingbirds on them. When I left my corporate job in March of 2024, I was kind of tortured, and I questioned myself if I had done the right thing, because my family would have to shrink to one income. That day, I got a newsletter from a wellness organization, and it had a picture of a hummingbird on it, and the content talked about the importance of caring for ourselves and stepping away from what's not right for us. When I started my personal growth experiment in January of 2024, this Finding My Way with Pi, Purpose, Intention, and Emotion, where I curiously examine my thoughts and feelings every day on video diaries. It's a transformative journey. I asked a dear friend to design a logo, and together we designed a logo with a hummingbird on it. Mimi's with me every time I do one of these video diaries. When I met one of my dear friends to get a coffee at a boutique coffee shop, there was this house-made, gluten-free, dairy-free muffin called the Hummingbird. I laughed delightedly because I could actually eat it with my allergies, and I felt like, Mimi is here today. And then during that conversation with my friend, she introduced me. She gave me the way power for how to build my dream. She introduced me to a community platform that I'm going to use to build what I want to build. She's also helping me along with my sisterhood, and it's now under construction. When I planted my dreams in my backyard following the advice of Tara Rai Trent and the Awakened Woman, I planted them under a hummingbird feeder. My dreams are to earn my master's in happiness studies, to earn my PhD in human flourishing, and to use my voice, my poetry, and my writing to help people discover and embrace their own whole being and collectively heal individually, together, and with the earth. And then, Dr. Tal, when you shared your space, there was a hummingbird on your wall, and you said it reminded you of your students and symbolizing light, generosity, and spreading beauty. To me, a hummingbird is not only my Mimi, but it's a symbol of joy and lightness of being, focus and determination, adaptability, gratitude, nourishment for mind, body, and spirit, and hope and good luck. So seeing that hummingbird on your wall was another meaningful moment for me, confirming I am on the right path, following my heart, and trusting life. Thank you for following your great hunger and your dream, because it has unlocked me to follow mine, and I am honored to learn from and alongside you. My professor wrote back. He was moved and touched by my words. He shared with me that hummingbirds are considered the bearer of dreams. He sent me a couple of links to 2 short articles symbolizing the meaning of hummingbirds in the Mexican culture. And in one of those articles, it shared that hummingbirds are often considered to be the spirit of a loved one, there to guide us. Wow, I just got chills all over again. What an incredible experience and symbol and meaning. The meaning in life is there. We know how to find meaning and purpose in our lives if we get quiet enough to listen to our hearts, and we have to get still and quiet to listen to our hearts. Remember why? Because our hearts whisper. So to listen, we must get quiet and still. And when we do, we can hear what our heart says, and we can follow it, and life will show us in meaningful symbols for us personally that we're on the right path. Thank you for being with me on this journey. I am so glad that you're here, and I hope it helps you too. And Cricket and I will see you tomorrow.